discusses what the new President Donald Trump would do after taking office. Business Insider January 22 said that the South China Sea will be one of the selection of a new owner. The White House. The U.S. military has frequently disappointed with the prudence of Barack Obama with naval patrols to protect freedom of navigation in the South China Sea. Former government fears rising tensions with Beijing in other issues, such as the agreement against climate change. But this will change when Donald Trump came to power. He entered the White House after talks with leaders-elect Taiwan Tsai Ing-wen and declare a trade war with China. The military officer and expert on Asia said they expect Commander of Pacific Command, the U.S. will have more freedom in the conduct of joint military exercises and patrols. Freedom Customs artificial island near the Chinese built illegally. That's a tougher approach, can increase the risk of sudden collision with Chinese forces in the region. At the same time, it almost certainly will lead to a fierce diplomatic reaction from Beijing. Donald Trump candidates nominated as the next foreign minister, Rex Tillerson has turned warning to Beijing in testimony before the Senate Foreign Relations Committee last week, crossing the threshold of U.S. policy in the South China Sea. More years. First, the Straits Times January 22 quoted an analyst in Singapore said that in the first speech at the ceremony of oath of office, Donald Trump said he would pursue a protectionist trade policy. The White House announced its withdrawal from the TPP. Speeches by the new president did not mention by name the United States to China, but Beijing may be prepared to receive pressure from the U.S. in the field of trade and geopolitics. Associate Professor Lee Mingjian from Rajaratnam School of International Studies, Singapore said, a protected U.S. domestic economy and distracted every war against terrorism and other security issues in the world will make an impression on the leaders of Southeast Asian nations that the U.S. is not reliable. Then you can see the growth of Chinese influence. Some countries will decide to engage with China. You can see the gradual change regional security structure and the direction of tilt of the middle nations. This can be seen in the South China Sea. These years, China can block a unified ASEAN because of the importance of the economic relationship between China and some ASEAN countries, said Lee Mingjian. Comment. Professor Jia Qingguo, however, rector of International Studies, Peking University, said he does not think there will be more space for maneuver China after he took office. Because East Asia is too important economically for the United States and cannot be ignored. Therefore, he says, the U.S. will strengthen its military presence in the region, using bilateral negotiations to seek more concessions from the opponent. Correlation between U.S. military forces, China if conflict broke out in the South China Sea. The Manila Times July 22 with all the analysis, China will lose if to break out war with the Americans in the South China Sea artificial islands outside. Military experts and geopolitical rejects threat of Global Times, China Daily about a war inevitable if the United States to prevent China visit as artificial islands. Rex Tillerson his proposal. Antonio Santos, a former assistant defense matters Philippines said China only one carrier on the payroll, and they also took some time to complete the development the second. In fact, only a leaning aircraft carrier serving as the main propaganda purposes. China is not known to operate a carrier-like, while the U.S. has 10 aircraft carriers warlike activities. As an intelligence officer, you cannot draw conclusions based on the purpose. We look into possibilities, Mr. Santos said. Former National Security Advisor Oilo Golas said the Philippines, China not rival the United States. The researcher said, if you're talking about the power 20 of the world's leading, practically eliminated in the Indian Ocean, all the rest is a friend of the United States. Friends of China really only has two, one in the water Indian Ocean, Pakistan. The other is North Korea. From the economic perspective, the 6 leading economies the world including USA, China, Japan, Germany, Britain and India, China stands alone among 6 countries. The rest stand with the United States. Antonio Santos said, the ability to maintain a war is important. You can start a war, but has maintained it or not is another story. Maintaining a war economy to rely on. If China lost the ability to export, they will die.